All right. Good morning, everyone. I think I'm live. I never know until I check myself over here on my computer and make sure that I've got some audio, and I do. So I think we're ready to go. All right. Just a couple of quick words. I see we've got 3 people online. I'll probably come back to this later, but I always try to start the live stream the same way, and that is I have monetization turned off so that your viewing should not be interrupted if you're here live. And then once the live stream is over, I will turn monetization on. So if you're watching this as a recording, then you will probably see an ad or 15. I don't know, however many YouTube decides to put on there. We got a few things to talk about today, and I just thought that I would start with a quick question. Um, Jody and Lori, hey, welcome. I'm going to try to get this over here a little bit closer to me where I don't have to like turn around to see my screen. Um, got a couple of things to talk about, but before we do, let me just ask you to put in the chat, how's everybody doing? Are you enjoying some coffee this morning? Some tea, maybe? How's life going for you? I can tell you for me, life is great. I'm a year and a half, a little over a year and a half into retirement now, and best decision I ever made. I'm just gonna tell you. Not the best financial decision I ever made, but I am enjoying life so much as a retiree. Um, worried about having to declutter. Well, that's at your own pace. That's however you choose to do it. Just do one thing today. Not even one. Not even one area. Just one item. Let's see what else have I got here. Holiday, Florida. I think I know where Holiday, Florida is. I remember hearing about it. 77 pounds lost. Oh man, congratulations. I'll talk about that in a minute on my own battle over here. Central Arkansas, fantastic. Man, it's got to be early in Central Arkansas. Thanks for being up. Valerie, I'm very sorry to hear that you're down with the flu. Oh man. And Jody is a pet sitter. Now, that would be really cool, I think. I have toured, we may have talked about this before in a live stream, but I've toured with the idea of being a sort of a house sitter and applying for that, where, when people go on vacation for a week, they bring somebody in to just stay at their house. Sometimes it's to water the plants, sometimes it's to feed the pets, take them for a walk. And you get a free place to stay, and it's pretty nice. So Tarpon Springs, I know where Tarpon Springs is. I've been there. Yes, okay. And you stay in the home. That's great. And I've only done pet sitting once, and that was for a friend of mine when I was living in Cleveland, and she was going to be gone for a week on a work-related trip, and I just went over every day, twice a day. To her cat was in the house. I let the cat out for a little bit. It didn't really wander off anywhere. Made sure it had food. Made sure it had a little company, and then I went home. And I'm not a big cat person, but that was kind of cool. I like that. So whoa, $100 a day. Yeah, okay. I've got to really rethink my priorities here. Yeah, and I went to Tarpon Springs one time on a photo walk, and that's why I remember Holiday. I may have actually gone there as well, because I vacation, or used to vacation anyway. I haven't been there in a long time, down in that area around St. Paso Grill Beach and that area. So I would kind of venture off into short little drives around to go to a new town and take some pictures. It was a lot of fun. Since somebody brought it up earlier, Anne brought it up earlier about her weight loss, I have actually had a weight gain, and I'm ashamed to say it, but I have been off the reservation for a while now. Um, and it really started around Thanksgiving, and I didn't really follow much of the dietary thing between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then when Christmas came, it was like, okay, I'm just going to make sure we don't have any leftover desserts here, so I'm going to eat all the dessert. um, yeah, I bet there's not, Jody. That's good. I'm glad it's giving you something to do. And being around pets is, I mean, what else can you? As long as they're not tearing up the house, they're just wonderful. Better than people sometimes. Um, so anyway, I have on my weight loss journey. It's actually now a weight gain journey, and since Thanksgiving, I have gained about 15 pounds. And so yesterday, I decided, this is the time. For the next 4 weeks, I've got to really be on my game as far as eating goes. And during all that time, it wasn't really about eating so much the wrong things, although I did. It was just about eating too much. And I just got into this habit of eating 3 times a day instead of two, snacking a little bit before I went to bed, not getting off the couch much, just a lot of wintertime things. So I've put my winter fat on. Now it's time to take my winter fat off. So so I'm starting that process again. Um, I do want to point out that I just recently interviewed Anya Eckert from Our Gabled Home. I'm going to put a link to her channel in the chat here. I think I've already copied it, so let me see if I can do that. Here we go. So Anya is in Northern California, and she has about 123,000 subscribers, and she just does kind of basic kind of things around the house, how to do certain things. Like I watched a video the other day on how to darn socks, and very much homemaker kind of things, and decluttering a little bit. And she does a lot of stuff with German cooking. Ooh, 27 degrees. My gosh, it's in the 50s here. It's going to be 70 this week. And she just came out with this book, Sourdough Simplified. We talk a little bit about that in the interview. That's going to be on Thursday. So watch for that, because she's just a really, really a wonderful woman to get to meet. I don't know her personally. I came across her channel. We hooked up to do an interview. She was very gracious and very kind, and gave me a little over an hour of her time to kind of sit down and talk on Zoom. And I'm very happy with how that interview turned out. So in addition to that, this weekend it's my plan to do another interview with my mom, this time about her and my dad and how they met, what life was like when they were first married, and that kind of stuff. So I've given her sort of a list of questions to think about, and pull her memories together and get her stories together that she can share. I don't know when that will go up, but I'm hoping to record that probably Sunday after her Sunday school class. So Valerie, I'm glad we've got somebody else on that channel. So So anyway, that's going to go up then. The interview with Mom, and then I mentioned, I think it was on the Life in Motion Diaries channel. I mentioned people have been asking me about, where am I going this year? What vacation am I taking? Am I going back overseas? And honestly, my original plan was, hey, Angel, my original plan was I'm not going anywhere. I may go in the United States, but I was thinking about maybe a trip down to Savannah, which I may still do. There's a camping park up near Knoxville that I may go to. A friend of mine pointed out to me the other day, and do some camping again. I do plan on doing some camping. But then I got this email from Rabbi's Tours. Now, if you've hung around any time at all, you know that my very first trip to the Isle of Skye ever, I went on a Rabbi's Tour trip. And I absolutely love their touring company. If you're somewhere and you want to take like a day trip from a town, or you want to take a 2 or 3 day trip, see if Rabbi's Tours is available. They are wonderful. They have little 16-passenger buses, so the tours are not big at all. Very comfortable. And anyway, they've come out with a new tour back to the Isle of Skye, all about food. So I'm going back to Scotland in October. It probably won't surprise you to know that I've already got my backpack out to see how I need to pack it. And I am now obsessively watching videos about Edinburgh because I will be spending a couple days there. But anyway, this tour is, no, it's Rabbies, Rabbies. And I think it's just rabbies.com. But if you type into Google search Rabbies, Rabbies, Rabbies Tours, you'll see. And they have tours that leave from Edinburgh. They have tours that leave from Glasgow. They have them leave from London, from Paris, I think from places in Italy. I mean, they're sort of around Europe. But they have a new tour that they've come out with this year all about food, which is kind of ironic now that I'm trying to lose weight. But by October, I hope to be where I can afford to eat the food. And so it's 2 nights and 3 days. And so I was like, do I go? Do I not go? Do I go? Do I not go? And then I started looking at the prices of it and what all is included in it. And I was like, okay, I'm going. So I will be in Edinburgh the middle of October. If you are in Scotland or England or somewhere close, I'm taking the food tour on October 16th. So it's October 16th, 17th, and 18th. And if you want to join me, take a look at it. Let's see if I've got a link here. I think this may take me directly to the tour. So let me just put this in the channel comments here. Now, this is not my tour. I'm not inviting you to let me be your tour guide, but if you want to join me and take a trip around the Isle of Skye and Glencoe and coming back down through sort of central Scotland back to Edinburgh, I opened that up on the Life in Motion Diaries channel to anybody that wanted to go. So I'm opening it up here for those of you that are, faithful enough to be up at 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time to join me on a live stream. Anyway, we'll be videoing from there, I would imagine. The first trip that I took with Rabbies, well, actually the only trip I've taken with Rabbies, I just sort of, held back by myself. I didn't really interact with anybody. This time, I'm thinking, I probably need to get the tour guide on camera, maybe try to interview some other people on the trip, maybe expand my range just a little of my comfort zone. So we'll see how that works out. The big thing that's going on right now, and there should be a post that went live when this video started, when this live stream started. So it has a poll on it. It should be up for 24 hours. So if you're on YouTube and you go to the community tab, you should see a post from me that went up at 7 o'clock. When I first started this channel, and I've talked about this before, but when I first started this channel, I was doing 2 videos a week to try to build up a bank of videos, and then it would be, Noreen, that would be awesome. So I was going to do that for maybe 2-3 months and then cut back to 1 video a week. And then, when that first video went viral and I went from like 40 subscribers to 25,000 subscribers in a matter of a few weeks, I thought, this is not the time. I got to ride this wave for a little while. Yes, it does. It comes from Robert Burns, and I failed to mention that. So I'm pretty sure Scotland is their home base, and they've branched out from there. So anyway, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I've pretty much decided I need to cut this channel back to 1 video a week. So the poll over there um, on the community page has 4 choices on it, and I don't know that I'm going to go with the results of those posts, but at least give me some idea where everybody's at. Hey, welcome from Yorkshire. Wow, okay. I know it's not 7 o'clock in the morning over there. The 4 choices for that would be, would you like for me to post on Tuesday mornings, Tuesday afternoons, Thursday mornings, or Thursday afternoons? Which best fits your schedule? And then, of course, the bottom line is I've got to choose something that best fits my schedule. And there's a few reasons for that. One is because it's really hard to come up with content twice a week for this channel that is meaningful and fulfilling and meets a need. And I mean, it's just hard. And so it would be a load lifted off of me to only have to post once a week. It would also mean that it would give me a little more time maybe to go back and start back up my photography, which I desperately miss. And I just have not had time to go do the kinds of photography trips that I'd like to do because of the Life in Motion Diaries channel and this channel. Now, the Life in Motion Diaries channel, I'm not posting every day. I did have a video go up today. I don't think there was one yesterday. And so, it's not unusual now to miss 2 or 3 days before I post one, but I am trying to still post that fairly regularly for the moment. But in addition to freeing me up with some time, it might also allow us to get some time available for like a private community over on my coffee channel. And, where we could have better discussions, some extra material that you wouldn't get on the regular YouTube channel. And I don't know that for sure, but it's something I'm thinking about. It's something I've thought about from the beginning. I just haven't had the time to plan it or get it together. Now, it's going to take a hit for me. I know that. This channel is roughly $1,000 to $1,100 a month from the views I get on 2 videos a week. So you can imagine if I cut to 1 video a week, that's going to cut way down deep into the financial side of things. Although it's not a big worry for me. Rhonda, I almost made that a choice on the poll. I did. That whatever works best for me. Because I figured that's probably what everybody would just default to. That's why I left it off. You're welcome to put that in a comment over there that I can follow up with later. So, it's as I've said before, and I've had to defend myself a few times. Yeah, I've only done 1 short video on this channel. I'm not really into shorts. I know a lot of people love them. I watch them, but I'm really not into making them. And so I don't really have any intention of going to YouTube shorts on this channel. Really on any channel, to be honest with you. It's just one more thing to do. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't post more than one from time to time. I'm just talking about a regular schedule once a week. Because if I do, like I have another Hovsco bicycle video that I have to do to meet my contractual obligations for that. All those posts on the weekends, that's going to continue to post on the weekend. If you see a video on the weekend, you know that it is an affiliate sponsored video and you can choose to watch it or not choose to watch it. But like if I'm in Scotland for this trip, I might post 2 videos that week. You just never know. But anyway, so I thought about waiting until the anniversary of this channel, which is June 3rd. Hey, Ron, welcome, buddy. And then I thought that's a long way off. You know, I don't know if I can keep doing this until then, but I may try. I'll put something more official out in a regular content video here soon. Camping in Cades Cove, and you didn't invite me. Okay, I see where we're at here. I'm surprised you have a Wi-Fi signal. So anyway, I think those are the main big things. Last minute. Isn't it great being retired? You can just make that decision anytime you want to. I think those are the main big things that I had to cover. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I meant to cover. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be doing another. What coffee are you drinking, and do you drink it black or add anything to it? That's a great question. So, ordinarily, I buy my coffee from the Mean Mug Coffee Shop because they're a coffee roaster. And I've talked about this in a couple of videos. The main reason for that is not that it's the greatest coffee in the world, but because it's a coffee shop. With my American Express Gold Card, I get 4 times the points for buying my coffee beans there. And I get a 6% back on Upside and an additional 2% back through Rakuten. So it's a financial decision. But here lately, I've just been trying some random local producers that are at Fresh Market. So I don't remember what this one is. Hang on a second. Once this coffee runs out, I will be going to Charleston Coffee Roasters. I just bought this to kind of have available. I do buy whole bean coffee. I prefer it to be medium to medium dark. And traditionally, I drink it black. However, on the carnivore diet, you're always looking for ways to get more fat into your diet. So the coffee that I'm drinking this morning is actually coffee that I got at Panera and brought back home. And then I put a tablespoon of butter in it and used my little mixer thing to kind of blend that in. So I have a little bit of butter in this coffee. I don't do that a lot, but I do it some. There is a coffee company, coffee roaster. Actually, I think it's a branded, they get it done from Goodman's, I think, but they sell it under their brand called Friend Folk, Folk, Friend Folk Coffee. And if you're into buying coffee online, I would highly recommend that you try their coffee out. It is a couple here local, Chris and Sarah, here local in Chattanooga. They have a sort of a travel channel right now. They are in their camper truck in Belize, I think. They're going through South America at the moment. I've met them only once, just briefly, but they're a really nice couple, and their dog Kramer is just so incredibly cute. And so occasionally I will buy some coffee from there because I like to support their channel. Yeah, buttered coffee. Have you ever wanted to come visit New England? I have been in New England. I've been to Maine a couple of times. I think that's still considered New England, isn't it? I love Maine. I absolutely love it. Now, is it organic? I don't know. You'd have to go to their website and see. I don't know. I've never had a problem with it, but I understand if you're on a pretty restricted diet for various reasons, that would be important. So I'm sure you would find that on their, if you just Google Friendfolk Coffee, it'll take you to their website. I'm sure you'll find that on there, how it's made. They have 2 or 3 different blends. You can buy it ground or you can buy it by the bean. Thanks, Ron. Yeah, Ron's reminding y'all to hit the thumbs up. I do appreciate that. I don't remember where I was at, but we're talking about coffee. yeah, so my goal is to kind of give myself a little bit of breathing room. I think that's um, yeah. I don't blame you. I don't. Right now, everybody is looking a lot closer at what's in their food and their beverages, and that's a good thing. So I don't blame you for that. Um, Trying to think what else I've got going on here as I try to keep up um, with the comments here. Welcome, Dancing Alone. Boston. Oh, I was talking about Maine. Yeah, Boston is a great place to visit. They have a walking tour called the Freedom Trail. You know, I've only been to Boston via the airport. When my family, this would have been 30 years ago, when my family moved to Scotland, we had, hey, Leona, man, still working. I'm sorry. Um, when we moved to Scotland, we had an 8-hour layover in Boston. I did not book the tickets. And so, my wife and I and two small daughters, we took a taxi down into the main part of Boston to try some food and walk around a little bit. Scariest taxi drive I've ever taken in my life. But I would love to go back. I hear Boston is a really nice place to visit, and would love to do that. Yeah, but I have been to Maine. I had a daughter that lived in Maine for a while, and so I went up to is it the Acadia um, National Park or whatever it is up there. Um, the layovers is a chance to see a city. I haven't done that in a while, but I do sometimes like I'm looking at flights now to Edinburgh with a 5-hour layover in Atlanta, as opposed to a 2.5-hour layover in Atlanta. And one of the reasons for that is I love being in the lounges, So anyway, that we're not. Oh, thank you so much, Leon, and I appreciate that. Um, it's it's one of those things where I've thought about. I haven't done this yet, but let me get a cup of coffee. I'm going to drink a coffee here. It is really impossible to get. I'm trying not to cover up my microphone. It's really impossible to get cheap points only flights out of Chattanooga. I subscribe to an email called the Daily Drop, and so I get an email every day about how to get benefit with your card points and where the cheap flights are coming from and what specials are being run. But in order to get some of those cheap flights, I would have to do what they call a staging flight. So I could fly maybe to Boston, or I could fly into New York or fly into DC, and then pick up a separate ticket entirely from there to wherever it is I want to go. And then fly back there and then get on the return flight with a separate ticket back home. And I could pay for that one ticket with dollars. They're usually a couple $100. And then get a super deal on points going overseas. I've never done that yet. I just haven't been that into that whole part of it, but it may be coming. Louisiana, I've been to New Orleans a few times. I love New Orleans. I love beignets. um, I have stayed right on Bourbon Street, not during Mardi Gras, but right down there. It's a really interesting place. Haven't been back in a long time. Oh yeah, the USS Constitution. I forgot about that. Yeah. So yeah, I mean there are places here in the States that I'd like to visit and go see. A lot of what I'm doing in the States right now is someplace I can drive to easily and then use the car to camp at least part of the trip. So like if I go to Savannah, that would be like 3 days in a campground and then a couple of days in a hotel um, downtown where I can enjoy the food and do a photography trip, that kind of stuff. So I'm just kind of working my way around those things. I have been watching videos from Rome now that all of the fountains are cleaned and open again. Oh my gosh, those things are beautiful. They are just beautiful. And, I almost went back to Rome this year, but I know it's a Jubilee year, and I know it won't be any better next year. Um, but I probably will go back next year just as a photography trip to look at some of the places that were closed. I still have to go see the Caravaggios that I wanted to see the last time. And so, for me, those big crowds are not that big a deal because I get out so early in the morning to go take pictures and walk around. I'm out 3 or 4 hours before most people are up. So, so those things don't really bother me that much. Yeah, Lori, I have a group of friends that are trying to put a cruise together next year. It's friends of mine that I've known for 20 years through the Discovery Educator Network, which I was a part of. And we have a member of that small group that sort of stays together and talks a lot, who is now booking tours for Carnival Cruise Lines. And so he's trying to put together some kind of cheaper trip for us to take. I've never been on a cruise, but I would probably try to go on that one if it turned out to be at a time, probably be in the summer, at a time when I could. Um, as far as the Southwest, now I've been to Las Vegas a couple of times. I don't know if that counts, but I've been to Texas, but I have not been to like Arizona. I was when I was like 3. I don't count that. Arizona, I've been to Arizona for a funeral. I wouldn't count that visit. New Mexico, those places I really have not been to. And again, there are some beautiful places, absolutely beautiful places to go take pictures. So, those keep sort of in the back of my mind of would I like to go there at some point, rent a car maybe. Um, yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's something I would definitely think about. Um, yeah, Michelle, one of the things that I've looked at on some of the YouTube channels that I watch for Rome, especially the Rome Wise channel, which I just love, is next year's not going to be any better. And the reason it's not going to be any better is because all the people that put off going this year are going next year. But I usually go in the off season, so the hotels are a little cheaper. And but yeah, we'll probably go back. I'd love to go back and then go back to Assisi maybe for 2 or 3 days if I could. So we'll see. Um, Indiana, Rhonda, I've probably asked you this question before. Where are you in Indiana? Because I grew up in Richmond and lived for a little while in Marion. Um, and so I'm fairly familiar with Indiana. Yorktown, Virginia. Man, we got people from all over today. This is absolutely great. I see you right now. I'm looking at the analytics up here. We've got 55 people online at the moment. That's amazing to me. You're in Indianapolis. So you're very familiar with Richmond on the Ohio line, and you're probably very familiar with Marion up north of Indianapolis. I lived in Richmond from the age of about 5 to the middle of 7th grade. And then we moved to Marion, and I lived there until the end of the 9th grade. And then we were in Bennettsville, South Carolina for a year, and then to Wynn, Arkansas, where I graduated high school. And I guess I sort of consider that home at this point because, that's where my mom and dad's family's from. East Tennessee, all right. So yeah, it's it's going to be a little different year, I think, this year, as I am. I'm going to try to give myself a little more breathing room. That's the main thing. I could keep up the 2 videos a week. I could do that, but there are other things I want to do, and that's let's see. Peter, I'm on this Rabbi's tour, but then I'm going to be back in Edinburgh for 4 days. So my trip is, with flights, my trip is actually 9 days long. So it's a little longer than just the Rabbi's tour. Any regular weekly errands, and a laundry day. Yes, laundry day for me is Saturday morning because the washer and dryer upstairs in my mom's house, and she doesn't wash anything on Saturdays. So Saturday morning is laundry day. And then I don't really have a regular weekly schedule for grocery shopping. I've mentioned this before. I have a Walmart neighborhood market about 5 to 6 minutes from the house, and I have a Walmart superstore like 3 minutes from the house in different directions. And I try to buy my beef there on the days that they get marked down. So I do go sometimes to one or the other of those after I've had coffee at Panera. And I get there about 7 o'clock in the morning. They open at 6. And sometimes they sell out of things that were there, but I look at what's left and what the next sell-by date is. I put that on my calendar, and I go back that day. And so, a couple of days ago, I got a couple of T-bone steaks at like 60% off. And I've talked about this in one of my other videos, but the 2-pack T-bone steaks at Walmart are almost always 1 T-bone and 1 porterhouse. And the porterhouse is more expensive. And this was like that. It had 1 T-bone where there's one side of the steak is kind of thin on one side of the bone, and then the porterhouse keeps that nice big chunk of really, really tender meat. So almost always they have 1 of each for the price of a T-bone, 60% off. So I got that. And then, while I'm there, I get other things that I might need, like if I need new parchment paper to cook my bacon on in the oven, or if I need more butter or more eggs. Oh my gosh, eggs. I went to buy some eggs yesterday. Woo! I usually get the Happy Days eggs or Happy something eggs. They're organic. They cost about $6.50 a dozen. It's one of the things I splurge on. Yesterday they were almost $10. So I bought the cheapest eggs Publix had. Happy Eggs, thanks. I bought the cheapest eggs Publix had. They were $4.99. I used to go to Aldi and buy eggs for 29 cents a dozen. I mean, come on. So yeah, anyway, eggs they're an important part of what I eat, so I have to have them. But I'm not being so cavalier with what I'm buying at the moment. I think that's probably true with a lot of people. So afraid it makes you an old person. Yeah, there's something to be said for that. There's also something to be said for maintaining some type of routine in your retirement years. I do have sort of a routine. I have days that I make videos. I have days that I edit videos. and I have these kinds of errands that I do once a month. I go get my hair cut, whatever's left of it, um, and those kinds of things kind of help. They help keep you from just laying on the couch all day like I've done for a few days in the last week and a half. But yeah, it is kind of an old person's kind of thing. um, well, Lori, yeah, Tuesday was bathroom night. And I do have a schedule, and I've talked about this in a decluttering video. I do have a schedule to sort of every day, a different room in my apartment is something that I just take a look at. So, I just, like in my closet, I just make sure that everything is hung up correctly where I need them. I look for clothes that I might need to get rid of. On bathroom day, I just make sure that I haven't started accumulating stuff in the drawers that I don't need. I make sure the countertop is cleaned off. I clean the commode, those kinds of things. And I have a kitchen day. So I do have that, and I use the Todoist, Todoist. I use the Todoist app to schedule all these things. And so all I have to do is type in, like, clean the kitchen every Monday. And it will put that on the list every single Monday throughout the next year. So it's really easy to kind of set up. It helps me sort of stay focused. When my mom needs me to get something for her from the grocery, I'll put that on there so that at the end of the day, I make sure I haven't missed it. Yeah, Suzanne, it's the only thing that keeps me from losing my mind. I am a slob. I was born a slob. I will always be a slob. And I have to have some accountability somewhere. Christmas gifts. Yeah, so, Christmas has changed for us because all of my grandkids now are in high school or out of high school. So those days of fun little presents and stuff for children, they're kind of gone. I set up an Amazon wish list of things because my daughters never know what to get me. And I try to set up a list of things that are like $25. And things that I need, they're usually like photography related. And then they set up Amazon wish lists for all 5 grandkids. Excuse me. And so, they send that out to all the family, not just me. And if somebody buys something, it disappears off the list. And so if you don't get on it early, you're left with the gifts that make you look like a jerk because you waited too late. And right now, we are getting together we used to get together on Christmas Eve. Right now, Christmas is really Christmas Day. And we get together for an afternoon lunch, and then we open presents, and then we have dessert. And one of my grandsons, his birthday is Christmas Day. And so after we've opened all the Christmas presents and we come in for dessert, it's usually a cake for him included and, 2 or 3 presents for him. Then they have a party for him like in April with his friends. So Elfster. I have used Elfster with work-related Christmas buying. It's really a fun little site, and I did enjoy it. Good morning, Matthew. Yeah, I could probably just use Google Calendar and not worry about it. But I've become so ingrained with Todoist that I pay for the premium subscription to it, and I just keep using it. And I just saw, Michelle, I just saw the last part of your question about minimal. Yes, they are aware that I am trying not to get just superfluous Christmas gifts just because it's Christmas. And so they don't Well, I mean, it's not like they ever overbought for me anyway. Um, Typically, each daughter will buy me one present, but they also know that if I put a list together, it's definitely things I'll use and not just, oh, let's get Dad another one of these that we got 5 Christmases ago, because it's simple. Um, so that helps. And if we ever get to the point where they just want to stop buying Christmas presents for me, I'll be okay with that too. Let's see, where are we at on time? We now have 67 online. Wow, we've grown quite a bit here. Thank you all. Um, so yeah, it's for those of you who have joined kind of late, we did cover a lot of important stuff at the beginning, so you might want to go back and watch that again later. I think on the live stream, I think you can just take the scrubber and just scrub back to the beginning and just keep watching it. And it'll probably play for you without any ads, because I'll add ads later. Yeah, those are just kind of things that the way we kind of do things here. Oh, one thing that I am thinking about doing, I've got a company doing a bid for me, and that is to remodel the kitchen. If you've watched any of my cooking videos, you know that I have this high top bar along one side of the kitchen. And as a result, when I'm doing cooking videos, I only have one direction that I can point the camera to see anything. And that's not the best direction. I'd rather be able to point directly at me with the cabinets behind me. So I've asked them to design something for me to make this kitchen more minimal, more functional, because it has a lot of cabinets here that are almost unusable, and to do away with that high top across the back. And then you've probably seen, it's actually behind the phone at the moment, but you've probably seen this cabinet that I have, 4-drawer cabinet with the picture above it of the prodigal son statue downtown in Chattanooga. I've asked them to include replacing that with another section of cabinetry to kind of blend into the kitchen. And it'll probably be painted cabinets. They'll probably be a little darker gray than the wall. I don't know that for sure. But anyway, all that's coming. What is on the agenda for today? Well, I'm hoping that I can make a Life in Motion diary video today. Some days it's just easier to say forget it now that I'm not tied to every single day. But I may do something with something I'm cooking this month for getting back on track with carnivore. I don't know. So, and do you fast and eat your first meal later in the day? No, I've tried that. It doesn't work for me. It's better for me to finish eating earlier in the day. And then, I sort of fast through the night. It's part of why I've gained weight, is because I've started adding food into that fasting portion of my day. I'd really like to be finished with all of my eating by about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what I'd like. It has not been that way for a while. So this morning I got up and rather than waiting, because when this is over, I'll go upstairs and visit with my mom for a while. So it would be like 8:30 before I eat. That's late for me because I've been up since 3:35. So I already had breakfast before I went to Panera, which was a 12-ounce ribeye steak, and with a tablespoon of butter cooked into it. And I cooked it in bacon grease. That is so good. Fried it in a frying pan with bacon grease. And yeah. So that I've already had breakfast. That will fill me up. I won't need to eat again until about 1. and then if I need a snack later, I'll eat a little something, maybe a slice or two of bacon because I cook that ahead. I'll eat that about 4:30, and then hopefully that will get me through the day, and then I'm trying to drink about a gallon of water. Um, no, my mom does not do any exercises. We just had an epidural in her back because she was having so much trouble getting up and down out of chairs because of the pain. And so that has really, really helped her out. And she's a lot more mobile than she was a week ago. But exercising, no, that's not happening. Um, Easier to catch you when I'm on the East Coast. Yeah, I bet it is. 7 a.m. is really early in California, let me tell you. Um, so yeah, thank you, Angel. Yeah, she is. She's doing quite well, and I'm very, very pleased with that. And so hopefully, as I said earlier, she does a Zoom Sunday school class. Some of her Sunday school class has gone back to church, and there are some of them that aren't able to go to church, and so they meet by Zoom with the people that are at church. And after that's over this Sunday, while she gets dressed up in her Sunday clothes to be on video. So while she's kind of dressed up for that, I'll try to do this interview with her. It's always a lot of fun, and I learned stuff. I learned stuff I never knew to ask when I was younger, and it's very, very beneficial and entertaining just for me. Um, Yeah, Lori, this is something that I sort of planned ahead on. I had a house in Cleveland, and my daughter remarried her ex-husband. They're doing great now. Long story, I won't get into, but they were renting. They were looking to buy a house. Their youngest child was attending school where I taught at Lake Forest, which is like, a 5-minute walk. And so I just told him, I said, look, here's the deal. It was a house I bought really originally with the intention of flipping it. And I had done a lot of work inside. I gutted the house out pretty well, replaced a bathroom, created a new bathroom, moved the closets around, opened up the kitchen, opened up the living. I'd done a whole lot of work to the house. And I just said, you know what? If you want the house, I'll sell it to you for what I owe. And then whatever you want to do for the house, you've got money left over to do your own remodel and fix things that I maybe left unfixed. And so that's what I did. I sold it to her and her husband. They've been there ever since, and I moved in here. This was sometime shortly after my brother passed away because he lived in this apartment. And for years, my mom went up and down the stairs because my brother he was unable to do a lot of things physically. And she just wore herself out over years of doing that, just wore herself out. So now she can't walk up and down the stairs. That's a no-go. So if she comes down to see my apartment at all, we walk around the house down to this door over here, and then I will walk her back around there. And we have to really take our time because it's uphill, and that will wear her out in a hurry. So, but I can tell you, for the peace of mind aspect, moving in here was a great decision. Now, when I first moved in, I was still working in Knoxville. So, I was an hour and a half away every day. But I kind of knew what day I was planning on retiring. And I retired a little early. I retired with only 23 years in education, but it was time. It was time to be close to home and to be around. So now, like when I go to Scotland in October and I'll be gone 9 days, my daughter will kind of come by and visit a little bit. I make sure the neighbor comes by. I get some people to call her and check on her, make sure she's okay. because if she has a problem, she's not going to tell me. um, yeah, Rhonda, it is. It's a really great setup. And then, oh yeah, the Ottawa area. I love Ottawa. It's if you're coming to the Chattanooga area, it is one of the places to go. It's growing, so keep that in mind. It's growing, but yeah, it's a great little place. So, all right, we are almost at an hour here, and I've got about 70 people online, so it's time for me to start thinking about closing this thing down. I really appreciate all of you coming by. If I do go to one video a week, I will continue a once a month morning coffee live stream. I love this time together. And yes, you would have a friend if you come to Ottawa. So yeah, it's a wonderful time. And as you can tell, as the live stream's kind of going on, my throat's gotten a little dry. I start to cough a little more. It's time for me to stop. I will answer that question. No, I am not married. This is, if I can put this up here, this is the ring that I wear. I get a lot of questions about this. This is the St. Francis ring. He signed his name with the towel. And I bought this in Assisi years and years and years ago, and it has barely ever been off my hand. And so I have this deep affinity to Assisi, Italy, and the life of St. Francis in particular, for some reason I cannot account for. But that's where the ring comes in. All right. Thank you so much. You all have a great day too. I appreciate it. I've set it up where I think you'll be able to click and see the live chat when this replays, but I haven't tried that in a while, so I don't know if that's going to work or not. So anyway, it will be available here in a few minutes for you to watch as a recording. And thank you all, those of you that came. And now we're going to say adios, adieu, au revoir, whatever other foreign language I can butcher. Yes, Susan, exactly. Yes. Okay. See y'all later. Y'all have a great Tuesday.